Super Mario World. I probably should have covered the Mario games before. Super Mario World was the fourth installment in the Super Mario Bros. Series, releasing on the Famicom in 1990 and later releasing in 1991 on the SNES. By this point, the series was starting to stagnate. Consumers and customers wanted something different. Enter Sega.
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis does.
Get Joe Montana free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Collins free. What Nintendo?
By this point in time, Sega wasn't really doing that well. The Sega Master System wasn't really doing that well compared to the NES. Sega's mascot at the time, Alex Kidd, wasn't nearly as appealing as Mario, Mr. Video himself. They needed someone new, a new mascot for the new console, the Sega Genesis. They needed something that could be easily recognizable. How about a fat guy in his pajamas? No. What about a furry? Maybe a rabbit. Yeah, you could probably use his ears to fucking grab onto stuff like ledges or ladders. Oh, no, fuck that. Save that for some weird looking star or something that we're gonna use later. Okay, new idea. What about a porcupine hedgehog? Yeah, since it's a hedgehog, maybe we can have it like roll down hills in a ball. Oh, and make it blue. That's basically how Mr. Needle Mouse himself was born. Sonic the Hedgehog, released in 1991 for the Sega Genesis and Sega Mega Drive. This game started a long-running franchise with multiple sequels, spin-off shows, comics, and even movies. When it comes to this franchise's quality, we'll get to that later in this retrospective. So, Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't really have that much of an introduction. We start off in Green Hill Zone, and just man, what a perfect way to start this game off. I love how colorful everything looks. The light blue waterfalls, the checkerboard floor patterns, and the weird ass looking palm trees. I don't know, it just looks a bit off to me. It's not bad at all. It looks great. Some of the flowers even bop to the song too. Sonic himself? Man, this is how you make an iconic character. He has a mix of being adorable, especially in the Japanese art, but he also has this mix of a bit of just a rad, cool, and edgy personality with some of his animations that really make him stand out compared to other characters like Mario or Mega Man. As we continue throughout the level, we see these hills here. If we hold down on these hills, we start rolling down the hill. This is the main control style of the game, momentum. This is what made this game so special. It's physics-based platforming. You see, momentum allows you to roll down hills and gain speed. With enough speed, you're able to roll up bigger hills and even jump off some of them to get to higher platforms and areas of the level. Speaking of higher areas, the higher you are in the level, the harder it will be. But it's much faster. With all of this combined, this makes Green Hill Zone a super fun level to traverse. But keep in mind I only said Green Hill. There are 6, worlds in the game, with a 3-act structure in them. In my opinion, all of the third acts suck in this game. They're just boring retreads of the first 2 acts. I am really glad they changed it to a 2-act structure in later games. Okay, by the end of Act 3, we get to these 2 small platforms and... Who the fuck? Why are we fighting this egg-shaped asshole? Oh, well now, this is why we're gonna talk about the story for a bit. You see, I didn't talk about the story of Mario in my first video because, well, what story?
Mario jumps to the turtles. He kills the King of Koopa. He saves the rabbit. He saves the rabbit and he kisses her.
It's like, what is it to talk about? The game takes place on South Island, a mysterious piece of land that doesn't stay in place. Yeah, it just like moves around. Magic, I guess. Sonic himself comes from a place called Christmas Island. That's why his shoes are red and white. He left Christmas Island because he wanted to explore the world. That's Sonic's backstory. What's Christmas Island? Why is he able to go fast? Who knows? Who cares? We don't need to know who or what Sonic is at this point. Everything important about Sonic's life takes place after this game. It kind of makes this game sort of Sonic's backstory, Sonic's origin story, sort of. While exploring the world, presumably riding a plane, he comes across South Island and decides to land there. While exploring the land, he finds this fat fuck who keeps kidnapping animals. The man who would eventually become his long-life enemy is named Dr. Ivo Eggman. Dr. Eggman. When destroying a badnik, a little animal comes out. So he's kidnapping these animals to power these robots. Go stop him. For the amount of time it took me to explain this, you probably wouldn't understand or care about this story because of how simple it is. But I like it enough. It's simple. And it works so we can get more invested into kicking this fat asshole's asshole. Oh right, this is a video game. Green Hill's first boss is easy. I mean, obviously it's the first boss of the game. But like, it's just not fun. Like, at all. In fact, just about all of the bosses suck in this game. But we'll get back to that later. Next up. Okay, let's get to Marble Zone. You would expect these levels to be just as fun and exhilarating as Green Hill, right? Let's start with the positives. Just like Green Hill, I love how it looks. The blue sky looks good, and especially all like the ancient stuff that's in the X. That's it. That's really it. This game just takes complete nosedive for the worst, and it just never recovers. The beginning of the game teaches you that if you use momentum to get through hills and loops, you'll be rewarded by getting to the end of the level faster by going through the highest parts of the level, and just that general feeling of going fast. Marble Zone teaches you what you're actually gonna go through the game. Don't go fast. Oh man, just having to wait on these stupid fucking blocks. These acts are just nothing but waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. If you're extremely impatient like me, just run through the level if you have a shield or rings, because you'll have invincibility for a bit, allowing you to skip this part of the level. Like, who thought it was even remotely okay to put this here? We get to the end of Act 3, we see Eggman again, and it sucks. Next level. Next up, Springer's. Whoa! This level looks great. It's probably my favorite level. Aesthetically. I really think Springyard really showcases everything I love and hate about this game. It has a bunch of these springs that give you a boost of speed when going up hills or curves. But then there's just these goddamn bumpers everywhere. Most of the time, they're fine. The game's just making sure you're paying attention when playing. But some sections are really fucking annoying. Having them all close together and stuff. And these slow ass fucking boxes. It kills any flow the level had at all. Besides the fucking boxes. I really got nothing else to say about the level. Nothing else. It's a fine level, I guess. Oh, I got one more thing to talk about. It's not about the level, it's more about the physics of the entire game. Obviously, when you're holding the D-pad or stick left or right, you move in that direction to gain speed. But if you're holding left or right while going downhill or moving with the spring, something activates. It's called a speed cap. A speed cap, well, caps your speed when going too fast. Yes, in this game, where the main gimmick is to go fast, they added a speed cap. Most of the time, you won't really notice, but there are some sections like these where they're really noticeable. When moving towards the spring, it pushes me forward, so in my head I'm thinking, hey, I'll just hold right, but my speed instantly decreases once I start holding right. When I'm not holding any direction or just holding down, the speed from the spring is kept. I am just so glad this was taken out in later games. As we get to the end of Act 3, we meet Eggman again. This boss is slightly more interesting than the last two, so we'll talk about it a bit more. He has a big spike on his vehicle where he can slowly take the blocks that you're standing on. If you're fast enough, you can get multiple hits on him. You know, I'm just starting to realize while recording and writing this, there's really not much to talk about with this boss. Next up,
My name is Cleveland Brown, and I am proud to be right back in my hometown with my new family. My name is Cleveland Brown, and I am proud to be right back in my hometown with my new family.
fuck me. This is it. This is the worst level of the game. One of the worst Sonic levels. One of the worst fucking levels I've ever played in a platformer. I deeply hate Labyrinth Zone with a passion. It's the prime example of what's wrong with this game. This game's problem is not just it punishes me for going fast. You see, its biggest problem is that it's just not very replayable. Obviously, when you play a game multiple times, you start to get better and better at the game. And the better you get, the faster you go through the game. In later Sonic games, your skill is rewarded with seeing multiple pathways and skips through the levels. Where Sonic 1 succeeds with the skill gap is in levels like Green Hill, Spring Yard, and Starlight, which I'm going to talk about later. It's just really fun to blast through these levels over and over again once you've learned all the multiple pathways and skips throughout the level. But in every other level, you're just going through these long, boring, and tedious sections that almost last as long as all the good levels. Labyrinth Zone is one of the biggest reasons I just don't like to revisit this game. Okay, so now we can move on to a good level now. Hey, just like Eggman. Now we move on to Starlight Zone. I've seen a lot of videos talking about Sonic 1 online, and this is the level that gets the most praise. In my opinion, the aesthetics and music of Green Hill still makes that my favorite. But I'm not gonna lie, Starlight is still really good. Talking about aesthetics, god damn! I love the starry night sky and the light coming from the buildings, and oh man, the music! It just feels magical. In fact, this game has great music. Sonic games are known for having great soundtracks after all. Green Hill just gives me this feeling of great joy when blasting through the level. Marble Zone is also really good. Spring Yard Zone might be my favorite. It gives me a major casino vibe. Even Labyrinth ain't that bad either. For better or for worse, it really does fit this slow-ass level. I don't really know what else to say about Starlight. I just really like it. Anyways, Starlight is still really good. There are so many little shortcuts and paths you can take while speeding through the level. I just realized Starlight and Green Hill are some of the only levels with loops. I guess that's why these two are considered the best and most well-designed levels. Oh, there are these stupid fucking spiky ball enemies and these damn fans. They don't ruin the level or anything, but these things are why I like Green Hill just a tiny bit more than Starlight. There's also these seesaws with spiky balls that are incorporated in the boss. Speaking of which, Robotnik throws down these balls, which are now bombs, onto the seesaws, in which you can throw them back up or allow you to attack Eggman. It's probably my favorite boss in the game because, well, you kind of had to like think when you're fighting him. Don't get me wrong, it's not amazing or anything, but I think it just utilizes the gimmick like pretty decently. Now we finally move on to Scrap Brain Zone. Fuck! This level fucking sucks! I know it's the last set of stages, but it's less of a difficulty spike and more of just really annoying. You have these spinning platforms which aren't too bad. There's also these disappearing blocks which are a bit annoying, but they're not the worst. In Act 2 they introduce saw blades and spiky balls, and like, you just have to wait and wait and wait and wait and fucking wait! It's just the culmination of everything I just don't like in the game. Scrap Brain is literally the definition of not having fun. Okay, time for the final Eggman fight. Oh yeah, Act 3. So as we drop into Wait, this is fucking Labyrinth Zone again! Luckily, you can basically just skip through the level. Finally. The final boss. What an epic conclusion to this tedious-ass game. Oh, the boss is fine, I guess. We end the game off with a tiny little cutscene. And that was Sonic the Hedgehog. I said we'll get to that later! So, what did I think of Sonic 1? It kind of fucking sucks. It's not terrible or anything. It's just that almost every other game in the franchise completely updates this game for the better. I think the game isn't really that fun to come back to. It's a 4 out of 10. It's not terrible, but I just don't really want to play it again. I probably won't be coming back to play this version of the game. That's right. I said this version of the game. With the fixes and updates that the Mole Port and Origins make, I'd say the game's not that bad with those versions. But if you truly want to play the definitive Sonic 1 experience, is Sonic Forever a perfect game? No, not at all. But it is leagues better than the original. Forever adds widescreen, allows you to remove the speed cap, making Sonic 1's control just as good as the later games, and man, it just looks great. You can tweak the game just to how you like it. All the sound effects and music just sound so crisp, and they even added new UI elements. There's even a time attack and arcade mode. They give you the option to add new moves and abilities from later Sonic games, and they even add new characters. But I won't be talking about them right now. I'll talk about them when they show up in future games. Does this exactly fix everything wrong with the game? No, not exactly. None of the level design has changed, so levels like Scrap Brain, Labyrinth, and Marble Zone are the exact same. And by that, they're not fun. Oh shit! Yeah, I forget about the Chaos Emeralds and special stages. They suck. Yeah, that's about it. If you get all 6, you get the good ending. Whoa, so cool. Sonic Forever is a really, really good version of a game I find very tedious. But it easily makes what I think is a 4 out of 10 into an almost 8 out of 10 game for me. I would highly recommend Sonic Forever for newcomers and veterans alike. For me though, fuck, I am so tired of this goddamn game! I just found Sonic Forever earlier in the year, then Forces came out in the summer, so yeah, I played through the game twice, and then I had to play through the game twice again just for this video. And now when I review Origins, I'm gonna have to play it again! But for now, I am done with this game. The next video is gonna be on Super Mario Bros. 2, and I am super excited. See you in the next video.